Before he pulled down a temple, before he lost his hair, his strength, and his eyes, there was a wedding, a riddle, and a debt paid in blood. This is the story of how Samson, the strongest man who ever lived, was undone not by an army, not by the Philistines' iron chariots, but by his own bet and the woman he trusted with the answer. This is Judges chapter 14. Samson was a Nazirite, set apart from birth. No wine was to touch his lips. No razor was to touch his head. He was raised for one purpose: to begin delivering Israel from the Philistines, the iron-fisted enemy occupying the land. But Samson didn't think like a deliverer. One day he went down to Timnah, Philistine territory, and saw a young woman. We're never given her name. Scripture only tells us she was Philistine. He went home and told his parents, "I saw a woman in Timnah, one of the Philistines' daughters. Now get her for me as my wife." His parents were horrified.
"No, I will not let you take him. He is the only son we have left."
"That you must go to take a wife from the uncircumcised Philistines?"
"My son, do not do this."
Please, I beg you, listen to us.
"She's the right one, in my eyes." And out of nowhere, a young lion came at him, roaring. No sword, no weapon, just Samson, and the Spirit of the Lord, which rushed upon him with such force that he tore the lion apart with his bare hands, the way another man might tear apart a young goat. He told no one, not his mother, not his father. He just kept walking, like nothing had happened. Sometime later, he passed that same spot again. On his way back to marry the woman, he turned aside to look at the lion's carcass, and inside it, he found something strange. A swarm of bees, and a store of honey. He scooped the honey out with his hands, ate as he walked, and gave some to his parents too. But he never told them where it came from. Remember this detail. It's not decoration. It's about to become a weapon. Samson's father went down to finalize the marriage, and Samson threw a feast, as was the custom for young men at that time. When the Philistines saw him, they brought 30 companions to be with him. 30 groomsmen, essentially, 30 men from the town to sit at the feast with the foreign bridegroom. 7 days of feasting lay ahead, and Samson, sitting among 30 men who were not his own people, in the heart of enemy territory, decided to have some fun. "Let me tell you a riddle," he said. "If you can solve it within the 7 days of the feast, I'll give you 30 linen garments and 30 sets of clothes. But if you can't solve it, you give the same to me." "Tell us your riddle," they said. "Let's hear it." Out of the eater came something to eat. Out of the strong came something sweet. Pause. Longer. The 30 men sat in silence. 3 days passed. Nothing. The riddle was, by design, unsolvable.
How much longer must we wait? The provisions are already gone. He promised to return by now.
It wasn't a riddle built on logic. It was a riddle built on a secret. And that was the point. Samson wasn't just playing a game. He was flaunting his strength and his silence over men he had every reason to distrust. By the 4th day, the 30 companions realized they were about to lose. They turned to the one person who could get them the answer. Samson's new wife. "Coax your husband into explaining the riddle to us," they told her, "or we will burn you and your father's household to death. Did you invite us here to rob us?" This wasn't a request. It was a threat against her life and her family's life. On the very week of her wedding. And so she went to Samson, and she wept. "You hate me," she said. "You don't really love me. You've given my people a riddle, but you haven't told even me the answer." "I haven't even explained it to my father or mother," Samson said. "So why should I explain it to you?" But she wept through the remaining days of the feast. And on the 7th day, worn down by her tears, he finally told her,
A razor has never touched my head. If I am shaved, my strength will leave me.
And she went straight to her people and told them. Before sunset on the 7th day, the men of the town came to Samson with their answer. "What is sweeter than honey?" they said. "What is stronger than a lion? Let the betrayal register." Samson knew immediately what had happened. He didn't rage at the men in front of him. He turned his fury toward the one who had betrayed the secret. "If you hadn't plowed with my heifer," he said, "you would not have solved my riddle." A bitter line, comparing his bride to a farm animal used against him. But bitterness didn't cancel the debt. Samson had made a bet, and now he owed 30 sets of clothing to 30 men he had never wanted to enrich in the first place. He didn't refuse to pay. He didn't run.
You cannot defy us, Samson.
Instead, the same spirit of the Lord that had torn the lion apart rushed upon him again. He went down, not to his own kinsmen, not to some random village, but to Ashkelon, one of the 5 great Philistine cities. And there, alone, he attacked 30 men. He killed them. He stripped them of their clothing, and he carried it back to Timnah to pay off the 30 companions who had cheated their way to the answer. 30 lives, taken to settle a debt over a riddle about honey and a lion. Then, burning with anger, Samson turned and went back up to his father's house. He left his bride behind. The marriage, for all practical purposes, abandoned before it had truly begun. And in the verse that closes the chapter, almost as an afterthought, we learn something quietly devastating. Samson's wife was given to the groomsman who had served as his best man. She wasn't asked. She was simply handed over. Collateral damage in a conflict she never started, caught between her husband's temper and her countrymen's threats. Final section. Slow closing tone. 30 men were dead. A marriage was in ruins, and Samson walked away from Timnah having proven exactly what everyone already suspected, that his strength was matched only by his volatility. But the text is careful to remind us of something underneath all of it. This whole chain of events, the forbidden marriage, the riddle, the betrayal, the slaughter, was, in the narrator's own words, from the Lord, who was seeking an occasion against the Philistines. Samson thought he was chasing a woman. He thought he was winning a bet. But he was a weapon being drawn from its sheath. And Timnah was only the first cut. The war between Samson and the Philistines had officially begun. And it would not end until Samson himself lay dead beneath a collapsing temple, having taken more Philistines with him in his death than in his life.